Hello everyone, welcome to my fourth update for Project Level Up. This project was created by Sophia Alexandra. I'm going to leave her channel and intro video to this project down below. But what this project is that you randomly select an eyeshadow palette and you have a goal of hitting pan and using eyeshadows in it. So for the first level, you will have to use each eyeshadow in the palette once and hit pan on one, and then after you complete this level or those goals, you can move on to the level 2, which involves hitting pan on 2 eyeshadows and using each eyeshadow in the palette twice, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I'm very excited to film this update because, spoiler alert, we will be rolling in a new palette this update, so let's get into it. But one more thing, as always, I'm just going to remind you that once again there's still war in Ukraine, and there are ways that you can help, and I'm going to link some of them down below, which will include some organizations that you can donate to and a few petitions you can sign in like a Google Doc that I created. So if you can find some time to do that, that would mean a lot. So yeah, that's it. So let's get into the palette, shall we? So I'm currently on the level 3, and my level 3 palette was It's Freaking Bats by Shroud Cosmetics and Beauty Bean. And here is what it's looking like today. So as you probably have guessed, my goal was to use all these eyeshadows 3 times and hit pan in 3, and as you can see, I did hit pan in 3 of them. So yeah, and I also did use all of them 3 times, so I'm pretty much done with this palette, which is very exciting. I'm going to swatch out, as I always do, all the shadows that I've either hit pan on or used more than 3 times, and I'm gonna talk about them and show you swatches and stuff like that. So yeah. Okay, so the first shadow in this palette is called Handbook, and here is a swatch of it. It's one of the shadows that I, as you can tell, hit pan on. It's like a chartreuse shimmer. I used it 21 times plus 1 more time after I hit pan on it, and yeah, this is what it looks like. It's not my favorite shadow in this palette, if I'm being honest. I feel like it's not as exciting as some other ones, or maybe I'm just saying that because if you follow my Pan Those Eyeshadows project, you know that when I started that project, I had kind of like a similar shade to this one in it to hit pan on. And maybe that's why I'm like, oh, this is not special. But yeah, I don't know why I mentioned that, but anyway, I hit pan on it, so that's good. Moving on. The next eyeshadow you see here is called Spooky, and it's the second eyeshadow that I hit pan on it. Here's what it looks like. Yeah, it's a periwinkle matte, and I really like this color. It's definitely one of my favorite shades in this palette, even though it's kind of finicky in terms of its formula, but I know how to make it work, so it's fine. Yeah. moving on. Next we have Apparition, and I used Apparition 3 times. That's it. No pen. Next we have Adams. I also used it 3 times and didn't hit pen. Then we have Sam. I hope you see what I'm actually pointing at. But yeah, Sam. I used Sam 5 times. Here is what it looks like. It's a pretty cool shimmer. It's like a silvery thyme green. Yeah, I really like it. As I mentioned in the previous update to this project, I initially wanted to hit pan on Sam instead of Handbook, but I feel like Sam is less crumbly compared to Handbook, so I changed my mind and I thought it would be easier to hit pen on Handbook, but it actually wasn't. So yeah. Moving on, we have Trappa, which is also a very beautiful matte. Here's what it looks like. I used Trappa 6 times and I didn't hit pen in it, but it kind of has a dip now, which is nice. So yeah, I really like this shadow. I really like mattes in this palette, even though this one is kind of weird, but I like the color and they're pretty pigmented, so I think mattes is the standout of this palette to me, which is probably not something everyone would agree with, but that's my opinion. Okay, so next we have Zero, which I also hit pen on. Here's what it looks like. I used Zero 12 times. And I really like it. It's a very pretty shimmer. I definitely like it better than Handbook, because I feel like this one is definitely more of a duochromatic kind of shadow. And this one, even though you can argue it's kind of like a green to gold, I feel like it's not as exciting. But yeah, Zero is great. And I have a pretty decent dip in it and a pretty decent pen, so I'm pretty happy about that. And moving on, the last 2 shadows, Dairy and Grim. I used both of them 3 times and I didn't have pen because I didn't intend to. But yeah, so this is what the palette looks like. Here are some of the swatches of the shadows that I used more than 3 times and or hit pen. So yeah, now we can roll it out. Finally, I'm very excited. Even though I really like this palette, I was kind of craving some other stuff besides that. Yeah, but yeah. Let's just get to the rolling in part before I talk more about some nonsense. So I have my random number generator app pulled up, and now we can do the rolling. But before we do that, I just want to mention the 2 rules that I have for eyeshadow palettes that are eligible to be rolled into this project. So first of all, I don't want to bring in any palettes that I've already worked on in this project, just because I think it would be more interesting to spread my love more evenly on my eyeshadows. And the rule number 2 is that I don't want to work on any palettes that are currently in my Pen Those Eyeshadows project. So other than that, anything goes. So I have my minimum set to 1 and my maximum set to 102. I added 2 new palettes to my collection. past month, so not great, but it is what it is. Anyway, let's just do the rolling. I'm very excited. So our new palette is going to be under the number 27. So I'm gonna go look what that palette is, and yeah. Okay, so I'm back. I have the palette, and I'm kind of nervous about this one. So the palette that I had in my spreadsheet under the number 27 is my Venus Excess Frosted palette from Lime Crime. Here's what it looks like. It's a very pretty kind of blue monochromatic 4-pan. I very much like it, but if you're not familiar with Lime Crime shadows, they're pretty hard to hit pan on because they are usually very stiff. So I don't know how this is going to go and how fast I'll be able to hit pan on 4 of these shadows, which means all of these shadows. So this is slowly turning into pan that palette. But yeah, so as I just mentioned, my goal would be to use each of these colors 4 times and hit pan on 4 of them, which basically means to hit pan on all of them, which I don't know how. I mean, yeah, I'm puzzled. I didn't expect to roll this little guy in, but I do quite like it. So it's not like I will force myself to use it. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah. This will be interesting because I love blue eyeshadow. It's probably like one of my favorite colors of eyeshadow to wear. I'm wearing blue eyeshadow right now. So yeah, and those times that I did looks with this palette, I very much enjoyed them. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah. Okay, I think I said all I wanted to say. So yeah, I think it's time to wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching. Check out my description box for Sophie's intro and channel, and also petitions and places to donate. I hope you're having a good day, and take care. Bye.